What does a game of the finals look like when played with a gun mouse? It's been months since I plugged this thing in, and it felt like it was about time to give it another go. I immediately jumped into a bank hit match and may have very well been matched with Optimum Tech himself, adding some credence to the idea that we are in fact different people. After using this match to warm up, fiddle with some settings and adjust to the radically different mouse feel, I jumped right into my next bank hit and hit record. I thought it might be interesting to share a full game rather than clips this time, although I will cut out running around the map to save some time. You'll understand why very soon. I'm running medium with Recon and the AK. It's a bland setup, I know, but it's great if you just want to fight and aim at people, which is what this video is all about. A quick reminder too that I've reviewed this mouse in another video linked below that goes into far more depth about the mouse itself. This one is just seeing what I can do with it in the finals. I land a few cheeky hits on someone here and go to post up on the zipline. The heavy gives me a pretty easy kill, and now it's time for some high ground tracking that actually goes fairly well. I jump down thinking I'm in for a clean target switch situation and completely botch it. Honestly, watching this back hurts my soul. I guess I thought the first person had died, realized they had not, and swapped back too late, totally whiffing both kills. I then run into a Lewis gun heavy, and while I don't miss many shots, what I really need to win a duel like that is to land more headshots. Spoiler alert, my sensitivity was set too low at the time, which was making those adjustments quite difficult. Plus, the gun mouse is inherently weaker at vertical micro adjustments as you have to move your whole arm to do them. Fortunately, I do correct my settings soon and start aiming much better. This little fella gets evaporated and has their lunch money stolen. I think you can see quite well here how the too low sensitivity is throwing off my aim. Everything is under aimed and a bit sluggish. We get the kills, but it was far from clean. This was enough of a wake up call for me to finally adjust the sensitivity. Generally speaking, the vertical gun mouse feels pretty awkward for maneuvering around the map, but to be fair, I've used standard mice my entire life, and this was the first time in months that I'd even held a vertical mouse. I'm sure it's something that improves over time. This track started off weak but finished pretty well, keeping in mind it was the first fight right after changing settings. And the heavy here cops a decent close range hipfire track. Check out the mouse cam here and the arm movements needed just to navigate to the cash out. I deposit my $10,000 dues and poke at my nemesis orange squad. This sneaky purple player manages to hand in right underneath me, and after hearing a sword hit my back, I dive for the hole. Swinging back, I land some nice headshots and they just instantly die. That probably wouldn't have worked on the previous settings. After tactically hiding and crying to get my health back, it was time to re-emerge. I landed okay, falling vertical track and swap onto the light, followed by a decent close range track on the same sword light. We're not done though, and with only 100 health left, I needed to crouch and AD strafe, keeping the rubbish bin between us for cover. The tracking there felt great, landing a few headshots and staying well on target. By this point, using the mouse was starting to feel more natural, and I think that nice sequence was a good morale boost and helped show me what a vertical mouse is capable of. The track on this light was a bit clumsy and shows the recurring theme of vertical movements being troublesome. Let's take a quick detour on that point. I think a lot of these vertical micro correction issues could actually be fixed by having the skin of your hand contacting the mousepad so you've got a bit more give, rather than on the base plate. Unfortunately, it's not really possible on this mouse. It has basically zero lift-off distance, so if it tilts at all, it just cuts out. I think you could probably do it by reversing the base plate to add in some stability, but the humidity here is ridiculous, and at the moment it's 90% plus, and my skin just sticks to the mousepad. It could be something worth trying another day. Back to it. I tickle this heavy and see he's holding an RPG, so it's time to get out. My plan was to turn back around and go through the door, but my mouse sensor cut out because the base plate had fallen down a little, which propped up the sensor. You can see me swiping a few times without my crosshair moving on screen, so I have to accept my fate. And right after, you can see me pushing the base plate back up. And here we get a great view of my crane sniper teammate. We're just in a casual bank hit, so it's not a big deal. It's simply painful that it causes me to spawn on the opposite side of the map to the action. We get an okay kill on the heavy here. I'm not sure if it's the difficulty of vertically adjusting that made me fire at the railing for so long, or if I expected it to break there. And I go and walk straight into a mine. Looking back at this footage, it seems pretty obvious, but you know what? I'll give myself the benefit of the doubt and assume I thought the purple light was part of the recon scan. I am then gifted with the high octane crane sniper gameplay before beginning my journey across the entire map once again. We land a really nice track here considering the zipline movement, and after another decent kill, I have to run for my life to avoid dying and having to cross the map another time, but unfortunately the orange team collapses on me. I'm a little torn on this track. It actually looks pretty good, but the recoil seems to have gotten the best of me. With the help of Recon Scan, both of these enemies cop some decent shots, and it just goes to show how much it helps to know where an enemy is going so you can line up that track ahead of time. While I'm too far away to do any real damage, this may actually be one of the cleanest tracks of the match, and something I'd be impressed at pulling off on my normal setup. The target acquisition isn't the best, but once I'm on target, it's basically a perfect track. It's moments like this that excite me most about the idea of vertical mice. You feel like you have so much control over the exact speed and position of your crosshair, at least when it's close to horizontal, or if they're moving vertically, it's in one direction, which is precisely the case here. Tracking him up the zipline is no trouble, but adjusting to him stopping and vaulting the balcony looks so dramatic. I mentioned earlier that maneuvering around the map felt awkward, and this is a great example of it. Finer movements feel clumsy. Another serviceable close range track deals with the heavy. Once again, the sensor lifting up and cutting out puts me in a tough situation. I opt for an early pre-fire to dissuade them from pushing, but unfortunately they go for it and land the shot. Ultimately, we ended up 21-7, which is okay. It wasn't the easiest lobby to stay alive, and I spent a lot of time running back from spawning across the map. For simply plugging and playing with the Ragnarok gun mouse, I was impressed with how good tracking feels so long as vertical adjustments aren't needed. While I haven't been game to commit to it, I am curious what someone could do if they mained a vertical mouse and ironed out the awkwardness. Unfortunately, there aren't many options to choose from yet, at least if aiming is your primary goal. If you are interested in trying out this mouse and would like to support me, I do have an affiliate link to it posted below, and if you're looking to optimize your current gaming mouse, check out my Clawmate mouse mod, also linked below. Black and white colors are now available too. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.